Welcome to the Red Bull Ring, as I appeal to drivers to use their brains. There was good racing to be had here, but only if drivers were using their brains. Now the first driver that needs to use their brains is me. Coming into corner one here, I was traditionally braking too early for this, and I managed to get it right, and then filled with confidence, I forgot that I still had cold tyres and made this dazzlingly incompetent move down the inside, pushing this Lamborghini wide. Full of remorse, I lifted off the throttle and allowed them back through. That was really pretty poor, annoying a driver. Lap 1, turn 2, making life difficult for them. However, this was not enough for this driver, who is the second one that I would appeal to use their brains. He then hits me once there and drives me into the gravel. Well, that is thanks indeed for allowing him back through. And I end up with this driver here, Rod somebody. I'm going to refer to him as Rod. Now, I'd been with Rod in a race before this, and they seemed like a very reasonable person. Drove nice and fair, was pretty quick. Nevertheless, not particularly wanting to be antisocial, but I thought this is an opportunity to come into the pits and get out on an empty track. I'd had a little look at the map. It looked empty behind. So in I came to try and find a bit of empty track where I would not find myself battling too hard. Found these fellas here warming up their shoulders, looking very Star Wars-esque with their ray guns, but we'll just nip through that. And I came out to a beautiful sight. The Red Bull Ring, empty. I thought this is going to be great. 8 laps of this, I'm going to be back in the game. Came round on the next lap and Rod had come out and joined me, but I thought, come on, he was alright last time, he was quite quick, and I made a mistake into this corner anyway, so he certainly didn't hold me up during this lap. So came round the next lap, thought this was going to work alright. Someone else had come out, Primulo, who from now on I will refer to as Cheese Spread, in honour of the great sandwich filler, Primulo. Now, Primulo is another driver who'd need to use his brains. We appreciate that you qualified way up the grid and that you don't want to be held up by slower drivers, but you have just barged through there really rather rudely. And using your brains, making a clean overtake, it just means it's better racing. Nice move from Rod there. And oh, well, look at that. Primulo uses his shoulders again. And while he's using his shoulders all over the shop, he gets himself a 0.5 penalty. Bad moves like that just encourage more bad moves, and then it all kicks off eventually, which is kind of what happens during this video. Primulo, how's he going to take his penalty? We're both one on one side, one on the other, and yeah, he cuts right across, makes contact with me, outbrakes himself, runs wide, gets overtaken by both of us. So if you get a penalty for going off track, you are a donut, and you should be able to man up and take your penalty, and if it loses you a place, it loses you a place. So he was unable to do that. I now didn't really want to overtake Rod, but I was in the slipstream and I kind of ended up overtaking him, running wide, giving away 2 places. Bit silly. Now, here's Rod, the clean driver. He's picked himself up a penalty. A clean move from Cheese Spread, but clean moves are hard, and he gets overtaken back again with another clean move. This is why clean moves are good, leads to good racing. Now, Rod, he has been a donut. He has got his penalty, but what does he do? He's nice and sensible. He just takes his penalty. He goes, I've been a donut. I've run off track. I'll just take the knock. And that's what he does. Here's another donut. Oh, it's me. I've run off track. I've got a penalty. So take it on the chin. If you lose a spot, you lose a spot. Don't want to really mess him up. We'll both be quicker if I let him through and then I take my penalty and then chase. Now, there are too many people from this point on to ask to use their brains. These two ahead, the guy in 10th is either annoyed with the guy in 11th or is a complete bandit because he now breaks in the middle of the straight, which leads to cheese spread coming past. He then runs deep at the next corner and cheese spread gets a chance. And off they go, but they are slowing themselves down. I was miles behind these guys. Well, what do you know? Here comes a man who needs to use his brains. Look at that rubbish. But then cheese spread comes on, and it's all rubbish. Just thumping into each other. And then Rod's back in the game. Clean player Rod. What's he going to do? Cheese spread, gets his shoulders out again. Go on, have a bit of that. So it continues in the same vein. Rod gets down the inside of Jason July or Jason Julie. I don't know if they're a kind of a team. They take turns. Jason Julie is now really rude. Look at that. Most impolite. At this point, I needed to use my brains again, but I thought I understood what was going on, and I thought Jason Julie was a dirty driver. I didn't like that little cut across me there, but to be honest, it was something and nothing. But I thought, if I get the chance, you have fouled that nice clean driver Rod, who's just given me a nice nudge forward, and if I get the chance, I will take you out. But I didn't really need to worry too much about that because Rod had something on his mind that he wanted to do. So Rod had got upset with Jason Julie, or Jason July, whichever one it is. He then comes back on track, cuts me up again. I didn't like that. He then runs wide because his tyres are dirty, and I thought, right, fair enough. I am going to ease you off because you annoyed me, and you were nasty to Rod. Now, I shouldn't have done that, really. I should have stayed cool. But I reckon if I had stayed cool, Jason Julie would have stuck me in the gravel at the next opportunity. Now, I get thoroughly fouled here. Nicky Hayden, what are you doing? I'm 11th. No, I'm not. I'm 14th. Well, this pretty much ends our story apart from this bit. Because of my slight foul on Jason Julie and him picking up some penalties by being a donut, his mate Rod got back in the game and he wasn't going to be denied this time, and he finished a job that he'd started earlier, which meant I came through to grab 13th place. Now, the bloke, by the way, who shoved me off, I said to him at the end, I let you back through. And he said, no, you didn't. Are you sure about that? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Think about subscribing.